What's up, Ultimate fans? Andrew here with the Ultimate Show. I'm joined by Ben and James this week. Couple of recaps for this week's scores. The only game in the Midwest, the Alley Cats defeated the Mechanics 25-15, as I predicted would happen. And we'll go over to Ben for his divisional recap.
Yep, well, let's just say it is the wild, wild west. Everything is not going according to plan. My preseason predictions are all getting destroyed. Los Angeles Aviators are 2-0. What is going on? But some crazy games in the West this week. The San Jose Spiders, who were projected to be last by almost everybody, beat the San Francisco Flamethrowers 24-22. And in the other game of the weekend, the Los Angeles Aviators beat the Vancouver Riptide 21-18, thanks to 8 goals by Brian Nguyen. LA keeps getting those big goal games from somebody. So we'll see how long that holds out.
And James, how's it going in your division?
And in the South, Raleigh took their Texas road trip. I predicted them to go 0-2. I was wrong. Raleigh has stepped up their defense this year, beating Austin 26-19. Unfortunately, they could not overcome the powerhouse that is the Dallas Roughnecks. They lost 33-18, and I don't know what I call it, a decent showing. No, it wasn't a decent showing at all. But so we have the Dallas Roughnecks standing at 2-0, and Raleigh standing at 2-1 as far as the South goes. And in the East, during division, a very chippy game in New York as the Eastern rivalry between the New York Empire and the Toronto Rush showed its face. Toronto beats New York in the final quarter to win 22-17 over the Empire. However, in DC, they were not so lucky. We have not seen Toronto take a loss like this ever in the regular season as they get downed by DC 32-21. I send my personal apologies to DC. I said that they would need more than Markham Schaffner to win this game, and Markham Schaffner only got 1 assist. So, I'm sorry to DC.
Yeah,
well, I'm sure they accept your apology, James.
Stat line there. So what's up for this week, fellas?
Let's see here. In week 3, there's only 2 games, actually. They're in the South. We have Atlanta versus Nashville and Raleigh versus Jacksonville. The Nashville game will be at home, and so will the Jacksonville game. So I predict, unfortunately, for Atlanta to beat Nashville. I am hoping for my Night Watch to do some damage. And Raleigh and Jacksonville should be a good game. I predict Raleigh. No, Jacksonville. I'm giving them home field advantage. I say Jacksonville over Raleigh. What do you guys think?
I don't know. That's tough.
Well,
I'm gonna have to go.
To be fair, to be fair to Nashville, they kind of have been completely destroyed. Jesse Schaffner. I need to send my apologies to her after that butchering. Unfortunately for Nashville, the Jesse Schaffner hype, well, it's been good, but unfortunately they have been destroyed. So, I mean, nothing's going right there, so I kind of have to go with Atlanta on this one. And then Raleigh versus Jacksonville, again, like James said, I think that'll be really, really close. Both of these teams have some amazing athletes. Terrence Mitchell for Raleigh. I mean, Brody Smith may play this game for Jacksonville, but we'll see. But Misha Freistadter is mean and hungry, and I think Jacksonville will pull it out.
As for me, I'm gonna have to go with obviously Nashville's hasn't quite put it together yet, but I think they'll do all right. I don't think they'll win this game, but with Raleigh and Jacksonville, I think I'm gonna go with Raleigh on this one. I don't know. I just like they've been the more consistent team in the South Division, but with Jacksonville at home, I know this is gonna be a great game, and I think this could be the bracket buster game of the week. So. But I'm going to go with Raleigh for sure.
And now for the big topics. of the week. Andrew, do you have any news for us, topics?
Not for the Midwest. We are on we're on bye this week, so the weekend is free. So I'll probably be sitting back and watching some South Division games, and I'll get to know some of the other divisions and see what they're all about.
Yep, and nothing really in the West this weekend. Another bye week, and I may not be watching the South Division games. There is playoff hockey after all, but um, despite that, there is one big thing we have to talk about, and that is that the AUDL has a new TV deal with the 11 Sports Network. Now, apparently, they are on DirecTV and a few other networks around the country. Now, I'm in Minnesota, and I don't get this network, so maybe some of you guys do, but that's basically the big topic that I see.
Yeah, I don't have DirecTV, but I'll definitely be looking in to see what their next broadcast is. Um, the next game they show on TV, but it's definitely exciting. It's a big monumental move for the AUDL. I know I've talked to the Radicals owner Tim a lot about what the future holds for the AUDL, and the TV deal is a big step in the right direction for them, and it'll only get better. 5 years down the road, I think they is their goal to have a standard regular TV deal in place, with a big market, big news network. So it'll be exciting to see where this leads. It's a good step in the right direction, and definitely helps the sport reach out a little farther.
I totally agree with both of you guys on the TV deal. Hopefully, we can move on to better a better platform, so to speak. No offense towards 11 Sports, but I do think we're starting in a good place. I think it was too early for us to go to ESPN, especially with the recognition that we really weren't getting as much. So I think to start off with a smaller platform, hopefully move forward, be a good idea. As far as other topics go, I'm gonna go back over to the South for a second. Matt Jackson of the Raleigh Flyers has suffered a broken arm. He won't be. He's most likely done for the season. It happened during a play. It happened during the game. He was winding up for a huck, and the Dallas player came in to block but he attempted a foot block, trying to make up space, and arm clashed with shin, and it took like a 15-minute break. They had the medics there and everything. There was a big controversy going on about whether or not it was a dangerous play, whether or not he should have been ejected, whether or not he should have even gone for it. I watched the game. I saw what he was trying to do, and I wouldn't say it was dangerous. It ended up being dangerous. I think it was more of an accident. Things happen. But what do you guys think about the situation?
Well,
I don't know with that. I don't know. Go ahead, Ben.
Okay, well, from what Evan Lepler said in the Tuesday toss, he thought it was more of an accident as well. I'm pretty sure Jackson played for Dallas. Am I correct about that? I'm pretty sure he played for Dallas because I remember them saying that he's the only player to play in all 18 games that the Dallas Roughnecks have won. So he's obviously a very big part of their team, and I mean, maybe Dallas will still be a powerhouse, but they're definitely going to miss him.
Yeah, it is Dallas. I'm sorry. That was my mistake, guys.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like with that kind of play, you go in thinking I'm just going to try and get a block. You don't go in thinking I'm going to take this guy's arm off. And I'm sure that most players are just going for the block. So is it dangerous? It ended up being dangerous, but I don't think it was intentional, which is kind of a good thing and a bad thing. Injuries happen, and all you can do is learn from that and move on to the next play.
And one more thing, I'm going to go to the East for a second. I don't like spotlighting fighting in any sport whatsoever. But I think definitely I'm glad it didn't end up being a fight, but for those of you who watched the New York and Toronto game, everyone knows that the emotions were high, especially in the first quarter when a fight on broke out between the Dross twins and Isaiah Kelly after a dangerous play happened on the field. After Mike Dross had caught it, Isaiah Kelly collided with his legs, took him out. There were words exchanged, and then Ryan Dross coming off the sideline. Who knows what could have happened? Lucky the teammates and the refs were there. It was just something I hadn't seen before in the league. What do you guys think about that? Because personally, I was at a loss of words for it.
Yeah, it was kind of shocking to see. But I think this was a case where one of the Dross brothers was just sticking up for his other brother. I don't think that it was, necessarily, malicious, but I think emotions were riding high in that close of a game, and I think it just got blown a little out of the water.
I don't know. I think it goes back to risk versus reward, and I think defensive players have to keep it in the back of their mind that they have to measure the risk versus the reward, and going for a block like that might not necessarily be the right play, but you gotta leave it all on the field. I don't blame him for getting a little riled up there. It was a pretty close game. It was a very important match for both teams, and I think what ended up happening after that too was one of the players scored and spiked the disc really hard, and I think that's what kind of didn't help at all.
Yeah, Dross very emotionally spiked the disc near.
I just don't think that
did happen.
I don't think spiking the disc is necessary in any way, shape, or form. I think it's not what the league is about, and I don't know. I like to see the fun celebrations, and spiking the disc and making it bend into different shapes is not something I'd like to see continue. But it's the way people celebrate. It's probably the easiest celebration in the game, but as far as spiking the disc is concerned, I hope that doesn't continue.
Yeah, and one more thing. This is kind of a critical point. The league has to decide if they're going to allow fighting or if they're going to allow little scuffles or how far they're willing to go, and what identity the league is going to have for the rest of its.
Because there was only one penalty that was assessed, and that went to Isaiah Kelly for the dangerous play. There was no spirit calls award, no banding, no ejections or anything of that nature.
Okay, so yeah, I think the league will have to decide if there should have been a punishment or if there should have been an ejection. I'm sure the league will be looking at this very closely.
And I don't think it necessarily warrants an ejection. I just think it's I don't know. It's just a bad decision. You make it ended up being a dangerous play. So players playing defense have to keep that in the back of their mind.
Yes. Yeah. There's not really many more topics to go about. I could refer to one topic I was talking to Ben personally about that happened late in the Toronto-New York game, where Toronto effectively. They had used both their timeouts in the third quarter, and in the fourth quarter, when they were trying to go up by 2, they had used a third timeout. I was confused because I would be assuming that the refs would keep up with the timeouts, but obviously when the ref blew the whistle to stop the play, that made everything dead, so they couldn't call it a turnover because they blew the whistle before Toronto threw the disc, whether or not they were out of timeouts. But in the NFL, there's actually a penalty for an illegal timeout. I know it's a yardage penalty, and you'd think the AUDL could think of something close to that. I don't know whether the refs even knew that it was an illegal timeout or not. Obviously, Toronto coach wasn't aware that he was already out of timeouts. New York obviously wasn't aware that Toronto had used a third timeout. But if you're watching the game closely, you would notice that it was a third timeout.
I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking outside the box here. Maybe there needs to be more timeouts. It seems like that happens quite a lot. And I know 2 timeouts isn't a lot to work with, but it's enough to help. So maybe they go to 4 or 5 timeouts per game, or maybe they go for 5 per quarter. Maybe 3.
Maybe?
Yeah, that would be.
It's not unreasonable to go up a timeout a half. It's not out of the ballpark. But I think it's something the league will definitely look at to see about improving the game. It seems to happen a lot, so I think it would be a good idea to give them at least 3, see how it
Yeah,
works out for a year or
definitely.
so.
This was a great episode. We reviewed what happened in week 2 and looked forward to the 2 games in week 3. I hope everybody has a good night, and we will see you next time.